Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, dear students, and welcome to our science class. Today is Sunday, and the date is the 14th of March 2021. We're learning about ocean ecosystem. What's an ocean ecosystem? We know that ocean is full of life, right up to the high tide line. What happens at the high tide line when the water level drops at low tide? Do plants and animals move down to the beach to stay in water? What do you think happens?
No.
Okay. So,
Wait, what is the question again?
what happens during a low tide when water level drop down? Low tides, you know, it's about water level, ocean level. When water level drop down, what happens to the living things that over there?
Nothing.
They expose.
No.
They become exposed. Now, take a look at this picture in page 520. Now, looking into a tight pool, you can observe ocean life without actually going into the ocean. So this is during a low tide. You can see it without water. What are these? What do you think? These are very wonderful creatures. They are very wonderful living things.
Sea stars?
Okay, sea stars, very good. You can see sea stars. What else?
Rocks? There's this weird camouflage thing. I don't know, but it looks cool.
It looks like what?
Sea stars. Weird sea stars.
The green one you mean? Or the...
No.
Okay.
The one
sea
here.
stars, you have orange and brown, two colors. And these green, they look like coral reefs. We are going to learn about them more. So these are animals, okay? These are, sorry, not animals, let's say living things that they live in ocean ecosystem. You only can find them where? Only in ocean. You cannot find them in woods or forest or prairies. You don't find them in mountains, only in ocean. All right. There is something called the intertidal zone. What do they mean by the intertidal zone? From the name, can you guess what do they mean? Let me tell you first about
it's a kind of zone.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't remember the definition.
You don't know the definition to remember it, ya Tala. So I'm asking you just to try to guess. What is it? It's all right. We are going to learn about it today. First of all, let me tell you that the intertidal ecosystem provides a habitat for more than underwater organisms at low tide. Okay, seabirds feed on many organisms they could not reach at a high tide. So some habitat, okay, look at this bird over here. This bird, what does it eat? It eats ocean creatures.
The ocean. It looks like.
Okay, it eats ocean creatures, but sometimes it cannot reach these creatures. Why? Because it is deep down in the water. So it will wait a low tide to happen so it can catch them easily or take its food. So is it helpful, a low tide, for other animals or not? It is really helpful. Okay, now let's find out what's an intertidal zone. What's an intertidal zone? Let's find out.
It's an area between the high and low tides line.
Excellent. So you are a great reader, Yatala. That's nice. Wonderful. Remember when I told you finding an answer is a big way or big achievement that you can do and to learn and to gain knowledge and to know more about something. Yes, let's underline together. So, intertidal zone, it's the area between the high and low tide. Now you remember that high and low tide happens how many times a day? Do you remember? How many times a day, girls? Hi, Fairuz. High and low tide, how many times a day it happens? Twice a day. It happens twice a day. Very good. Excellent. Twice. Twice a day. So you can find a high tide and a low tide twice a day. That's what keeps animals living. You can find what in a low tide? What can you find?
You can find some animals that
What are they? Yes.
Exposed.
Okay, what are they?
I saw eels when I went to the beach. I don't know.
Okay. Okay, what else?
Maybe sea stars? No, not
Sea stars, yes. Sea stars. Okay, before you tell me what are the creatures, let's agree on something. When a high tide happens, all the creatures are covered by water. But when a low tide happens, what do you see? What do you see?
We see the other animals.
Other creatures, let's say creatures and not animals, because not all of them are animals. So we see creatures, they are exposed. So when they are exposed, many creatures you can see, or let's say many living things you can see. Okay, when can you see crabs? Crabs, seashells.
Crabs, the one like
Yes,
yeah, the ones like this.
yes.
They come from the beach that they like
low tide. You see them when it's a low tide. Yeah. Yeah. You can find other animals, or let's say creatures,
Yeah.
So in many places, rocky bowls hold pools of water while a tide is low. Animals in a tide pool remain their own natural aquarium. Tide pools commonly include crabs, small shrimps, sea anemones, and sea stars, sea cucumbers, snails, and a variety of small plants. What do they mean by a variety of small plants? Variety means differently, different small plants. So when a low tide happens, sometimes different areas keep their water inside, and they call it a tide pool. What do they call it when the water is still inside? They call it a water pool. Can you see the water down here? Why? Because it's surrounded by rocks and other creatures, so water did not go all the way down with other ocean water. So it's keeping the habitat. The habitat is still the same. What are the animals or the creatures you can find? All these are creatures you can find. Crabs, small shrimps, sea anemones and sea stars, sea cucumbers, snails, and a variety of small plants. Very good, very good. Sometimes you can find small fishes, and they can be eaten by who?
Big fishes.
No, in a low tide. No, when a low tide happens, it's a good opportunity for who? For who?
Oh, the bird thing.
The seabird. Excellent. It's a seabird. This bird only eats sea creatures. It only eats creatures that's inside the ocean. So it's a good opportunity for them when a low tide happens, so they can go and eat their prey. Well done, everyone. Well done. All right. And at the beginning of our session, we learned with Miss Jenna the coral reefs. What's a coral reef again?
It's the plants that are not plants, but they are a living thing. I don't know what kind are they.
Okay, they are coral. They are coral. So
Miss, how are they coral? They're named after.
their name is
like
coral. Their names are coral. Now take a look with me, Atala. Coral reefs are the branch-like structure. See, they have branch-like structures built by colonies of coral polyps. The branched reefs provide habitat for many organisms. So it's a house for many organisms. It is like a house for them. So they cannot live without it. So, and these organisms form a complex community and food web, of course. All right, tomorrow definitely we're going to learn more about coral reefs. Look at this picture. This is an individual coral. Polyps are tiny. These are very tiny. Can you see the polyps over here? The yellow thing? These yes. Yellow, yes, these yellow are polyps. The reefs they build are massive enough to spot from airplanes and even from orbiting spacecraft. They glow, so they can be spottified from airplanes and from other spacecraft. They look very nice and cool. Do you think that?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, girls, I'm really sorry. Our time is up. Definitely, we are going to complete tomorrow and after tomorrow. If you have any question, please do not hesitate to ask me. Is there any question, my lovely?
Miss, I'm going to tell you something funny. The one that said sea bird, it wasn't me. It was my brother.
Really? I did not recognize the voice. Okay, lovely students. It was a pleasure to give you this lesson today. See you tomorrow, inshallah, and have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.